Hi, this is Mark with Teresa, Cynthia, and Shelley from the Center for Math and Teaching. For those of you who joined us recently on our catch-up webinar, welcome back. If you missed that one, don't worry, we'll do a short recap before moving forward. If you don't know us or our work, we're a nonprofit math ed consulting group that worked together in the math department at UCLA for about 10 years. And about 10 years ago, we left the university to form CMAT. In the previous webinar, we explained some beliefs and plans for catching students up. And that video is now on our website. If you'd like to watch it, just scroll to the bottom of the homepage, but I think our recap in a minute might suffice. As I said, we'll start with a quick review of our plan to catch your students up in math due to lost instructional time. This general plan is appropriate at most any grade level, and then we'll take a closer look at our MathLinks Essentials curricular materials, see a quick sample lesson, and get a tour of the resources on the teacher portal. NWEA is a nonprofit that supports K-12 education through assessment in order to help educators tailor instruction to students. This graph of their current research and projections is telling us a lot about the current state of things. First, it agrees with a Harvard study from 2016 that found students lose about 2.5 months of math learning over the summer. And it's worse for low-income students than their higher-income peers. NWEA data projects that with the compounded summer and COVID slides, students could begin the fall of 2020 nearly a full year behind, and that's pretty shocking. NWEA also reminds us that good data generally helps guide important decisions, but things are changing too rapidly for anyone to collect valid and reliable information. Therefore, it's crucial that we use our experience and judgment to make some decisions now. Schools will start again soon in some form. It's going to take a lot of work, and we have precious little time, so let's start getting ready now. Here's our plan in a few simple words. Concentrate first on doing the major work of the previous and current grades so that students are prepared for success in the fall of 2021. This chart summarizes the major work of grades 5 through 8 and the plan for including previous grade level work into the current grade level. A 6th grade plan to catch up includes 5th grade major work. A 7th grade catch-up plan includes 6th grade major work, and so on. And because we believe integrating topics is efficient and helps students make connections, consider as an example doing work with solving 7th grade two-step equations, leading into solving 8th grade multi-step equations. Where students received insufficient instruction or just flat out forgot the majority of what was taught, we recommend spending significant time on major work of the previous grade, along with major work from the current grade. You may be thinking that you'll need to cut back on current work that's not considered major, and this could be true. It's definitely unfortunate, but if we add content in one place, we probably remove content from another. But let's focus on the goal, which we believe is doing whatever is needed starting this fall to get students ready to do grade level work at the start of fall 2021. Let's spend the remainder of our time together on specifics of how our MathLinks Essentials is a great fit for catching students up in grades 6 through 9. It's had positive impacts in summer programs, intervention classes, special education classes, and as supplemental materials. The program is available in print or digital formats, and there are authentic technology options for exploration of concepts, but it's not technology driven. The program sets up nicely for remote instruction when necessary. And remember that face-to-face or distance learning without good instruction is ineffective. These packets are not self-guided workbooks. Now, just as always, teachers are the critical component to learning. Quick fixes to difficult, complex problems rarely exist. So let us make things easier for you. Let's take a look at some of the components, specifically the student packets, the teacher edition, and the teacher portal. You'll see that you don't have to find resources or even create lessons because it's all right here for you. Just review what we've already laid out, and you can teach essential concepts efficiently and with fidelity so that your students make the progress they need. MathLinks Essentials consists of 6 modules. Each module has 3 consumable or digital student packets, and each packet takes about 10 typical class periods. Packets from modules can be flexibly combined to create the plan your students need to catch up. And with just a few packets, you can teach the major work that students may have missed to help them catch up. For incoming 6th grade, we recommend these 4 packets. For incoming 7th grade, these 4 packets. For incoming 8th grade, these 4 packets. And finally, for 9th grade, we recommend these 4 packets. So you see, if you're a teacher who specializes in one grade level, you don't have to worry about being an expert in the previous grade level because we've figured out that major work and great ways to deliver the instruction. For pre-assessment purposes, we recommend that you make decisions that best suit your students and use any measures you trust. For your convenience, we created a checklist for each grade level. Pictured here is the checklist that identifies major work for 6th grade, which is appropriate for incoming 7th graders. You'll find our 4 6th grade packets with short descriptions and bulleted details. Upon closer inspection, you'll find that each bulleted point is linked to specific problems on our short pre-assessment. Checklists and accompanying pre-assessments are snapshots of what we understand to be the major work based on national documents. In other words, this is the essential content your students will need to know. Whether you actually give the pre-assessments or not, look them over to better understand the content and approaches of the program. This will help you decide if the lessons will address the needs of your range of learners. Those who didn't learn yet, those who learned but forgot and need a refresher, and those who just simply would benefit from a different second look at the mathematics. The grades 6 through 9 checklists and pre-assessments are up on our website right now. Remember, these identify the major work needed for the incoming grade. So now we'll switch over to Shelley, who's going to show you an example of how a lesson plays out.
One question we often get about the MathLinks Essentials program is, what does a lesson look like in the classroom? I'd like to share with you an introductory algebra lesson called Mama's Pizza to help answer that question. You can expect the Mama's Pizza lesson to take about 2 to 3 regular class periods. Mama's Pizza focuses on some of the major work from 6th grade. It is found in the first packet of the Expressions and Equations module, and it is the second of 3 lessons in the packet. In the first lesson, students explore the concept of balance through puzzles. In this lesson, students are introduced to variables, expressions, and equations in a very intuitive context. And in the third lesson, students solve one-step equations by substitution. Every lesson begins with some getting started problems. Here, students are given a menu, they write an order and find its cost, and then they compute the cost of 6 medium drinks in multiple ways. This accessible start to the lesson is intended to get student buy-in, tap into prior knowledge, and lay groundwork for what's ahead. Next follows 2 pages for part 1 of the lesson. In this part, students build meaning for variables and expressions, learn some algebra conventions, and apply some properties of arithmetic. We'll take a closer look at this part in a minute. Here are the 2 pages for part 2 of the lesson. This part focuses on the meaning of a solution to an equation within the pizza menu context, and students use substitution to confirm a solution. So let's go ahead and dig into part 1. Teacher guidance is expected for this page, where students will see a menu, some partial statements, and have blank space for writing. Teachers have a detailed answer key, lesson notes, and a slide deck. I am going to walk you through the slide deck now. Please take note of the animation, which gives you guidance, control, and flexibility as the lesson unfolds. Watch also for a convention we use in slide decks. Questions for discussion appear in blue italics, while numbered question prompts will tell students to respond in writing. We start by asking students how they would write down this order. Student responses are generally something like 2C plus 1S, or C plus C plus S, or even 2CH and 1SD. These responses will spark a discussion about variables as the teacher helps students recognize the difference between a letter being used as a label and a letter that stands for quantity. The class is then prompted to agree on variables for the cost of menu items, and the slide tees up another discussion on variable conventions. Suggested questions in the TE are, why do you think the author suggested a capital L for the large drink? Or, what other letters might cause confusion as variables? Students then use menu items in their packet to write the order using variables and to compute the cost. Teachers may ask students to share, or they can use the slide deck to guide the discussion. On the next slide, this young lady joins in and wants the same order. Students then write the variable expression and its cost. Again, teachers may choose to have the students share and discuss, or use the slide as a guide. On the slide, the first representation focuses on combining like terms. The second connects variable addition to a vertical place value routine. And the third utilizes the distributive property. On the third and final slide of this lesson, students interpret the meaning of orders and use variables to write expressions and evaluate them. The last question refers back to the Getting Started page. Elbow partners may combine orders, or if this lesson is done remotely, you might ask students to combine their order with an order of your choice. I hope that gave you a little taste of how the first part of the lesson might unfold. In the student packet, a practice page follows this classwork. I especially like how problem 6 pushes students to explain the meaning of equivalent expressions when like terms are combined, and problem 7 gets at the nature of variables themselves. I think we can expect wide differences in student readiness in our classrooms next year. For students who need it, this page of extra practice is in the teacher portal. And this technology activity makes a great enrichment option. We've even created a worksheet to accompany it to increase student accountability and push student thinking. Planning for a MathLinks Essentials lesson is pretty easy with these resources. Here is the option we just discussed. Teacher-guided work is in blue, and practice options are in red. If you have longer but less frequent blocks of time, here's a variation. Again, classroom guidance is important for the blue parts, and practice can be done at home. Mama's Pizza represents a typical lesson. We hope you noticed how the goals were met organically through this context. Those of you familiar with the 6th grade Common Core standards probably saw evidence of them as well. This lesson gives students a good start and foundation for new learning or for catching up as they begin their study of algebra. And now back to you, Mark.
Thanks, Shelley. Shelley gave you a good look at one of the 3 lessons in a particular packet. Let's take a look now at some features you haven't seen yet that are in every MathLinks Essentials student packet. Here's an opening problem to hook students along with its answer key. Some openers, like this example, are posed when students can start to engage in the problem, but before they have the tools to fully complete it. They learn the needed concepts and skills over the course of the packet and revisit it later. This is another example of a page that's accompanied by a slide deck and lesson notes. This is a word bank where students record the meaning and examples for important vocabulary as it comes up, and a vocabulary activity to do at the end of the packet. Each packet includes a student resource section with definitions, explanations, and examples. And there's always a review section that has activities like this group-based poster problem and a big square puzzle where you see it in its solved form. You saw some features of a TE when Shelley did the sample lesson. So now let's look at some of the features you haven't seen yet. For the fan of the finer details, you'll find the packet's content standards and math practices, strategies for different populations of learners, and tips from our mathematicians and expert teachers. Blackline reproducibles are also in the TE. Often these are game pieces or cards, or manipulatives like the cups and counters you see here, used for equation solving, which are also included with the program in a sturdier form. Now, Cynthia is going to give us a guided tour of the secure teacher portal.
Thank you, Mark. As you can see here, we are on our main website, mathandteaching.org. Before we log into the Secure Teacher portal, I'd like to show you a few items that can be found under Curriculum, specifically Essentials on the right. In the Overview section, you will find many of the topics that Mark discussed, such as the pre-assessment, the checklist, and some of the possible plans. Also under Curriculum, if you go to Essentials Packets, you'll actually be able to see each of the student packets for each module. And if you just click on View, it will open up the entire student packet. These student packets here are for view only. You cannot print them, but you can view every page and see the format and the setup of the student packets. Also under that Curriculum tab is Parent Support Letters, which support every topic as well as each packet within that topic in English and Spanish letters. And what it does is just help the guardian to understand what's being covered in that packet that the students are working on, why perhaps the content's being addressed the way it is, and some possible resources that might be helpful for them to look at later. Now we're going to go into our actual teacher portal. So I'm going to log into Essentials. And if you would like time to peruse our portal, just reach out to Teresa, whose email will be on the last slide, and she could set you up with a login and password so that you could look at our site for a couple of weeks. So I'm just going to look at fractions. And then remember, now we're on the secure site. So this is just what teachers get to see. On the right-hand side is packet specific. So every module has 3 packets, fractions 1, 2, and 3. And they're all set up the same way that we have the teacher resources with all the answer keys there, the student packet, all of the assessment pieces in a PDF and document format, as well as the answer keys for that, the extra problem bank that we spoke of earlier, the slide decks that Shelley showed us a sampling of, any reproducibles that might go along with that, with the lesson within that packet, the technology that supports the curriculum, and once again, the parent resource letter that we just saw on the front, the main website. If I flip into packet 2, I will see that it's set up exactly the same way. And no matter what module I was in, whether it be functions or expressions and equations, it would all be set up the same as well. On the left side is general resources. No matter what packet I'm in, you will find the same general resources on the left. Getting started with our technology, some short getting started videos that show some of the finer details of some of the components of the curriculum. Here is a unit video, which is the only packet specific part on the left side. And then we get to skill boosters, which are a short 5 to 10 minute skills-based routine to help fill in the holes of prior knowledge. And that's our teacher portal in a nutshell. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks, Cynthia. We got a nice little overview of the teacher portal, which of course you can look at as well if you contact Teresa. There's an ordering information page that looks like this that's on our website as well if you're curious about what you can order and the prices. You can always check out our website, which you can see right here. You can always email any of us directly, or scan the code you see here to fill in a Google form to start the conversation. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. We hope this information was helpful.